events.
Racing fans, be sure to stop by the Jockey Silks porch, located just inside Gate B, this morning from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for the Saratoga Jockey Colony autograph signing. All donations will go directly to the Permanently Disabled Jockeys Fund.
The presentation of today's racing program is a copyrighted broadcast of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, recreation, or retransmission of this broadcast without the expressed written consent of the New York Racing Association, Incorporated is strictly prohibited.
Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Saratoga. It's a sunny Saturday here at the spa. Temperature right around 70 degrees. The main track is fast. The turf courses are good. The portable rails are up on both the melon and the inner at 18 feet. No carryover in the pick six, and here now the changes for today's 11 race card. In the first race, scratch number 1, Life is Great. Scratch the 1. And note that number 7, HP Moon, is a Ridgeling. Second race, we have a jockey change on number 5, Ticket to Antigua. Make the rider Heman Harkey. Harkey on the 5. An equipment change on the 11, Out of the Breach. He'll run with blinkers on. Blinkers on, number 11. Third race, no changes. Race 4 will begin a mandatory payout, pick 5. And in the fourth race, scratch number 11, Reunion Tour. Scratch the 11. In the fifth, there are no changes. The sixth race kicks off the pick 6. These scratches in the sixth: scratch 4, Royal Spirit, 5, Stellar Tap, and scratch 11, Spetro, through the 14, K-Club. In the sixth, scratch 4, 5, 11, 12, 13, and 14. In the seventh race, scratch 3, Trumpet Lily, 5, Halo City, and 11, Easy to Bless. Scratch 3, 5, and 11 out of the seventh. The eighth race is the Grade 1 Alfred G. Vanderbilt Handicap. Note that number 6, Whitmore, will run with 2 aluminum pads again. The ninth race, the Grade 2 Jim Dandy for 3-year-olds. Scratch number 6, Risk Taking. Scratch the 6. And please note there'll be no show wagering on race 9. Race 10 is the Bowling Green. No changes there. And in race 11, scratch 8, Hieroglyphics, 12, Patriot Drive, and 13, Villainous. Scratch 8, 12, and 13. And a rider change on the 4, Acker, to Junior Alvarado. Alvarado is on the 4, Acker in race 11. Main track is fast. The turf courses are good. We'll be back at 12:30 to recap the changes. Today's first race post is at 1:05. Up next, the Jim Dandy edition of Talking Horses with Andy Serling and Anthony Stabile.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses, presented by our good friends at Saratoga Water. It's a gorgeous Saturday, the third Saturday of the meet. Saturday, July 31st. We hit August tomorrow, and then things really start to heat up. It's an amazing card today, 3 great stakes. Pleased to be joined, as always, by my main man, the Big A, Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. How are you today, Anthony?
I'm wonderful. We had a great crowd out for breakfast in Saratoga this morning.
In the cold? Anyone wearing a parka?
So I walk out of the house this morning, Mr. Never Cold, walk back in. The only long sleeve thing I have up here with me is my Mets hoodie. So you got to see me in my Mets hoodie this morning if you came out to breakfast at Saratoga. It was 50 degrees when
I had to get an
walked
extra
out the door.
blanket from my mom last night.
Yeah, I won't go that. I'm not a blanket guy, but
Well,
I have a
you
little
have
more insulation
You have
than
a few
you.
blankets on.
I
don't
have a little
have
more
any.
insulation than you.
We got 11 to talk about. Head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member of Naira Bets, go to nairabets.com. We will match with $200 of your initial deposit. Use the promo code SPA200. Play through Naira Bets. Support the game. Keep the money in the game and support racing in New York. What do we got? Oh, it's PDJF Day.
Yes.
We will permit you during Talking Horse. You're here to head on over until 12:30 today, over by the Jockey Silks porch. It's sort of behind the Jocks quarters. And there's a sign-up, an autograph signing to give money to PDJF. So head on over there and get some autographs from some of the good guys over there, any of the good guys, all good guys, and do the right thing to support PDJF. We appreciate everybody's support of all horse racing-related charities. Cross-country pick 5 today, Monmouth, Saratoga, Woodbine, Saratoga. Stakes, 4 of them are graded stakes, including the Monmouth Oaks and the 3 graded stakes here. That's 4:33. And I guess we'll end an hour and a half or so later. Travers Bankroll Builder.
6:13. Ends at 6:13.
Got to opt in, I'm guessing. That thing I can't read says. Bet
Yes,
$50 to
opt in.
win on the Jim Dandy Stakes. Opt in, you get $20 of it back for the Travers. And heavy favorite in there, Essential Quality. We'll talk about the race. You like him. You're getting really good value on him, to be honest. True value, actual value. Also, America's Day at the Saratoga Live. Anthony, I'm just like
You'll get it right September 5th.
Yeah, September 18th.
I'm giving
we're
you
back
one
in
day.
Belmont. No, we're back in Belmont. I'll call it Saratoga Live. You know me. You know me like a book.
I know you
Anyhow,
well.
we're on all day today, 1 to 7 on FS2. Anthony, race number 1.
Yes, Andy.
We knew Life is Great wouldn't be running today, we ran yesterday. We were off the turf. We were on the turf today. Good on the turf, fast on the main track. I did all kinds of guessing here. I'm assuming that Todd Pletcher's a Mastery. Haven't seen a Mastery as
We
of
have
yet.
not.
Looking forward to see how that stallion who stands at Claiborne does. I just didn't feel like picking him. I took a stab, and let me tell you something. If the 4 moving pictures remains 12 to 1, It's probably one that I'm stabbing myself with because it's just not live. I guess with this one, 2 of the 5 bulls from the dam were pretty good. I just took a shot here. I don't see the workout reports. I really have no idea. I don't know if you.
I have been looking forward to the Masteries. I thought Mastery was going to be the goods in his 3-year-old year before he unfortunately broke down.
Goods.
He was the goods, and he had the look. He had the look.
Ooh, eye test?
No.
Ooh.
For a horse that looked like he was going to put his stamp on horses as a stallion. I went with Master Game. I've been looking forward to betting
stories in this race?
No,
you
I
know
have nothing.
Okay.
I have no stories in here. I went to Master Game.
It's a million stories.
Inherits the inside. Now, like you
City.
said, we knew Life is Great was coming out. Inherits the rail.
What about the horse for Lacey Godet coming up? Of course, the sister to our friend Gabby Godet with some good workouts. She's shipping this horse up. She must like this horse to ship
4
it up
bullets.
here.
4 consecutive bullets at Delaware Park.
This horse is 3-1 right now. It's early. It'll be interesting.
Right. It's early.
Hear what
It's
Maggie has
early.
to say, or Acacia. I guess Maggie will be in the paddock for race number 1. We'll see what happens.
I want to
Did
use
little guessing.
very quickly. I want to use a little 5 Hoist of Gold. These Dallas Stewart firsters don't ordinarily work fast. This horse is working pretty fast.
He's
in
won
the
with
morning.
firsters up here over the
He
years.
has won with firsters,
yeah.
so I want to keep an eye on him, especially if he's at that 5, 6, 7 to 1.
Tom Amos has a firster, and the number 3 Kevin's Folly is a half 2.
Flexibility.
Yes, Flexibility, who won some stakes here in the winter in 2016. Race number 2, there are 2 divisions in this race, 2nd and 4th. If some of you are looking and wondering why one has 12 and one has 10, it's because they're on different courses. We can run 12 in the Mellon. I'm assuming the rail's out in the inner. We can't run more than 10. So even though they're split divisions, they filled up in each one. So if you're looking and wondering why wouldn't they do 11 and 11 like I was wondering, and then I looked and saw there were different turf courses. So that's just a little piece of information. I had a tough time in this race. We'll take a look at a race 2 back for Out of the Breach, and I think 3 back for Majestic Sky when they finished 2-3 going 7 furlongs. Majestic Sky, subsequent to that, had a distant second to the heavily favored Portfolio Hedge in that race that we'll take a look at is for May 22nd at Belmont. Majestic Sky, subsequent to this race, he ran okay to be second to a heavy favorite, and he did blow the brake last time. Broke a length slow, but he was atrocious last time, and I just can't take him. Out of the Breach is a trainer switch to Rudy Rodriguez. He actually has decent numbers on trainer switches on the turf overall. Nothing special, but okay. And I'm hoping with him. Anthony, I'll be honest with you, I found it very hard to find anybody in here because I'm not picking Bielefeld at a short price because he's switching to Irad Ortiz, because this horse has gotten very good trips in races and not sealed the deal. And in some ways, the 8 Bielefeld may be the horse to beat, but I simply don't want him at a short price.
I left him off. You know, you might be right that he's the horse to beat. How many opportunities has this horse had, Andy? He's going to be completely
He's
over.
8 to 1 morning line, so I'm obviously not right.
Okay.
Who's the favorite?
The favorite is the 1, Fast Gordon, who's dropping back down. Now, this isn't a traditional drop because this horse already ran for the 40,000. Problem with this horse is he's got to go a distance of ground for the first time. It's been a series of turf sprints. He debuted on the dirt going long, but after that, it's been all turf sprints. We'll see if he stretches.
I would book every cent on this horse.
Yeah,
I'm going to show you a stat.
I didn't know what to do with it. Okay.
I know exactly what to do with him.
Okay.
Out the window.
Wow.
I hope he's favored. Take a look at this stat. Linda Rice, who is somebody who has very interesting stats. She has some really good ones and some really bad ones. Sprint to route on the turf with maiden. She's 1 for 26. She's 0 for 17 first-time route. This horse routed, but it was on the dirt. But this horse, I don't want any part of this guy.
I don't blame you. Listen, I had a tough time with
he
this
wins
race.
going long. I'm losing.
I went to the Firster, to the Clermont Firster, and here, full disclosure, I was given a little word that this horse might not be that good.
Well,
but I didn't get that word until it was done.
He has absolutely no pedigree. Here's a question for you. The dam sire is Tales Not Told. No disrespect to Tales Not Told. I've never heard of this horse.
Yeah.
And if I haven't heard of him and you haven't heard of him, that's pretty remarkable because he's an encyclopedia and that kind of stuff. I don't want any part of that horse. I know Christophe is terrific with firsters. I don't want any part of that one. And listen,
I had a really tough time
I thought
with
there
this
were 2
race.
horses I want to bet in this race. One is the 11 Out of the Breach, and I almost put the 10 to Vinicris on top. As a plenty of pedigree, you know I love this family. It is more sprint side. If this was a 6 furlong race, I'd be more interested in this horse, but you know I'm going to use them. So
but this horse also ran 2 dirt races in which the first dirt race was against a bunch of monsters, proverbial monsters. That was a good New York bred race. And then next time out, Papa Smooth, while you can question his overall ability, but he was good that day. So he's run into a good field and a good performance, and now he's getting on the surface you would think he would like.
Let's move forward to race number 3. Race number 3. I struggled with race number 3. I want to start out with the no to entry and start with Flat Awesome Jenny and a video of her win in her last start. The notice had kind of gone cold after this race, but they have had that big winner here last week. So they're a barn that can run very streaky, like a lot of barns, and they get very hot and they cool down. This is when they were in the midst of a monster run, right before it came to a bit of a halt for a while. If she runs this race, she's probably going to win. And frankly, she's got a backup Miss Liana, who I don't really like, but she has a speed at 7 furlongs that I like, and they're a powerful entry. I will not deny it.
She started running at the half-mile pole that day, and she just kept on coming. Kept on coming, and like you said, it was in the middle of one of those runs where the barn really couldn't do anything wrong. Now they've kind of cooled off a little bit. She gets help. Right, Miss Liana.
Well, you've got a good entry because you've got a speed and a closer.
Yes.
So they're an extremely sexy
entry. And they
entry.
both could win because she could get loose on the lead in here and just keep on going.
They could run 1-2.
They could.
I don't really like Miss Liana, to be honest with you. I'm not thrilled with her, but she's a danger as a speed. The horse you have on top, Cartwheel, is the one I was going to pick. Take a look at her second place finish last time. Adari's Angel is a solid runner. Problem with her is she's best when she's forward.
She is.
And with the presence of Miss Liana, she's going to have to rate, and that concerns me about her.
Now, she's best when she's forward, but she only has one real fast race on her card. You'd have to go all the way back to November 1st of 19, where she really went fast early. Miss Liana is going to outrun her.
Miss Liana's faster than her.
She's going to outrun her.
It's not even close.
The fact that she is drawn inside, the fact that she has as capable a rider as Jose Lezcano, who's
They're
as
all
good.
capable, these guys.
He
though,
is, but he is very good on or close to the front end.
But it doesn't matter. It's not about Jose.
Right, she might just be a need-to-lead type.
I just think she's a better horse in front.
And you might be right.
And I'm not against her at all. And I think the 1 and 2 make perfect sense. I just didn't really want either one. I don't want to take an entry. This entry could be 4 to 5 in here, Anthony. And maybe,
I don't want this entry at 4 to 5.
Maybe they should be 4 to 5. Maybe they should be, because literally it's not clear that both of them couldn't be favored or close in this race. So I get it. As far as Kathy Nas, I've had a funny stat for Jimmy Bond. They're 4 for 12 off of layoffs like this. Your favorite layoff.
Yeah, I love
the
this
4 to 8
I love
month
this
layoff.
number.
And for what it's worth, this is at Saratoga. And this is getting to your point, which you've made earlier in the meet, and I don't disagree with, that the Bond Barn, like a lot of people, but as much, if not more than anybody, they really are pointing for this meet. It's something they've done, and they've done successfully. It's one thing to try to point for Saratoga, and a lot of us have pointed to Saratoga, handicappers and barns alike, and gotten completely embarrassed up here. Everybody gets embarrassed in Saratoga one time or another.
They win every year.
They've succeeded. And I looked at her dope winning last year, and it's almost the exact layoff coming off a terrible race. Now, the good news for her last year was before the bad race, she had good races. And there is obviously a severe question with her whether or not she can run anymore. But they're bringing her back. Are they really going to bring her back if she can't run at all anymore?
No, you would think not. Her last 2 races are questionable.
I get it.
And now we haven't seen her since January.
But I can't take anybody else.
And
I
that's
just
fine.
didn't feel like picking the 1 or 2.
Listen, if I didn't think, I agree with you.
I'm going to bet a few
Cartwheel.
dollars on her. Not a big bet, but a few dollars.
I don't disagree with you with Cartwheel. I'm hoping against hope that Cartwheel can sit the right trip off of Miss Liana.
Yep. And listen.
But you know me, I love me some Jimmy Bond. I'm sure you're surprised I don't have this horse 4th.
Your hope with Cartwheel is that she's a better horse than Miss Liana. She sits 2nd, and she's able to take over.
Yep.
And it's not an unreasonable hope. Race number 4. I don't think there's an argument in race number 4. I'm assuming David has High Tone, the favorite. And we'll take a look at High Tone's last race at Churchill. And this is her first race back in New York. She ran okay in New York. I thought, though, it's ex-Mike Maker. No disrespect to Ron McQuett. It's ex-Mike Maker. I know the horse improved away from Mike, but it was in Kentucky. Now you're back in New York. Horse to beat. Do I want a short price in this guy? No.
Ron was nice enough to stop by breakfast at Saratoga this morning. We had a 10-minute chat about Whitmore and what he's done, the job he's done with him.
I bet at that breakfast this morning.
Yes.
I bet they all didn't come and speak to you, though.
They didn't all come to speak to me. No, some people stayed by themselves. Louis Lazzanaro came over. We got a little surprise for everybody on Monday, too,
I had a friend who was there. I was going to make sure to tell him to come speak to you, but I forgot. Because that's the kind of guy I am.
That's okay.
He would have come. Because
Ron was great. Talked about Whitmore. Yeah, I mean, this horse, I put this horse on top in here, and I know what you're saying about the form. I'm just, again, to me, it looks like he's going to be forward. He has a horse like Tough Workout who figures to go set the pace for him. He's going to have a little bit of a target. Ricardo's going to be aggressive. He makes a lot of sense. I would have no problem trying to find a fuzzy in here, but I felt comfortable that this horse could work out the right trip, and I like his
I don't know if
form.
working the right trip. He's a speed and should be forwardly placed, and he's a very logical horse in this race. There's absolutely no reason not to like this horse. I don't have a problem with that, and I don't think anybody realistically does, but I have to bet the 10 Burrows socks in this race, and I'm surprised you don't have this horse a little bit in here. You know, when I look at turf pedigrees, it's one thing to look at sexy, expensive firsters, and we'll talk about one a little bit later in the card today, and see that their dams won a lot of money in the turf. They won Grade 1 stakes. They produced a big winner or something. I prefer, in a way, lower level races like this, when you can find a turf dam that is a turf move up. And to me, this is a turf move up dam. She was 0 for 2 in the turf, but she ran a 76 Beyer as opposed to a 68 in her dirt races. The horse on the turf that won showed enormous improvement on the turf, running low like Beyers in the 70s, much better on the turf than on the dirt. And 2 horses try the turf, one of them won. I think this is a very interesting horse for Dave Donk. Getting Jose Ortiz on the outside, I think this horse could be very interesting trying the turf for the first time. So this is the one I'll take. The horses that have run on the turf, I'll be surprised if the 7 doesn't probably beat them.
Okay.
You know.
By the way, this starts the mandatory bonus pick 5 today. Race number 4.
Okay, thank you for that, Anthony. Race number 5, which ends the early pick 4 and early pick 5. 3 pick 5s today. This is kind of a tricky race. I guess the horse to beat is Behind the Couch. Horse you and I, David didn't have favorite actually, but he has the whole board around 4 to 1. And I don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
You know, I guess the question with this horse is, do you trust this horse to bring that form to New York? But she has run reasonably well in New York. I thought her last race
Problem A and problem B is her Naira form just not good. And it tailed off, and when she went back out of town,
well,
she kind
she
of
has
found
2
the
races
form.
that are good enough to win
Yeah,
here.
I guess, but I mean,
Well, she has run well in New York. Let's be fair.
but she kind of fell off the cliff.
She did,
after
but
that.
she took her a little while to get her act back together, and now she's run a good race.
And maybe the
You've
new,
got her
and
second,
maybe the new
Anthony.
barn.
It's not like
Listen,
you're against her.
I'm not against her, right?
So why are
but-
we knocking her? Isn't
Well,
she a
it's
logical
not a,
horse
it's
in here?
not a knock. I just think it's something you got to tread a little carefully with because she does have
She's
some
not gonna
bad
be-
races
not
on
gonna
the
be 8 to
circuit.
5, man.
No, I guess not.
You know, I mean, she's a horse who can win this race. I
Yeah.
think that's a realistic concept.
Well, I think
I don't think we need to talk about.
No.
I mean, she's no killer. She
it's
is who
hard
she
to
is.
make a case. Really,
I mean,
there's not too many of them that you could probably make a case against in here. I don't think.
I mean, the horse that you picked, you know, I've picked her a lot. I don't see it. She can win, but not for me.
My hope with
given up on
her
her.
is Irish Constitution, Pleasure Luck. I'm just hoping she's kept better company in her dirt races. Form's a little muddled with a couple of turf tries in there. I thought maybe because of the turf form, she'd get overlooked at the tote board. I could have picked one of 4 or 5 fillies or mares in here, and I want the one that I think has
Well,
a little upside.
she's
and
a little
I think,
dirtied up by
yeah.
turf races. I think that's the point on her.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
I don't disagree.
Part of the reason you want her at 6 to 1, 7 to 1. They're not all going to be that price. I think she'll be the one that gets lost. She's not stakes faced. I think she'll be the one that's lost in the
Bettors are
shuffle
pretty
a little
smart.
bit.
The problem with a race 2 back is the good news is it was a slow pace, dominated up front. She also got beat a pole. She was 3rd sort of by default, and she was on the rail, and the rail was the place to be that day. She can win. Listen, maybe Tom Morley gets Shane's Pretty Lady back to her best
Sure.
race. Won't shock me if he does, and she
Nope.
can win this race. Honey Money can win. I don't think Honey Money is impossible in here. We'll see how the pace is. You know, how much speed are others going to show in this race? Honey Money's supposed to be forward in here. I don't think she's impossible.
Honey Money's one who she kind of.
She was bad in the mud. But
She was bad in the mud, but it was
pass.
in the mud in her last 2 fast track races off the claim from
and her
her
other
man Wayne
sloppy
Potts.
field track wasn't
Yeah.
a good race, so it's possible. As far as OK Honey, first of all, I know I could love to pick horses that Anthony leaves off his top 4, and she's good enough to win this race. There's really no question about it. You might want to say, is 6 a little short for her? Well,
That's my biggest problem with her.
except a mile is a bit of a stretch for her at times. And she's good enough to win. See, I think she's the one that gets a little lost in here. I think she's the one that's probably a little higher
Well,
priced.
she's one of the outliers, right? There's 5 of them between 7 to 2 and 9 to 2.
Right. I mean,
she's
but
not.
some of it, 1 or 2 of them
she'll be
are
10
gonna
to 1.
Well, I don't know if she'll be 10 to 1, but mean, David has her
6-1.
Okay, yeah, I think she'll be a square enough price. We'll see.
You'll
And
get your price on her
She is
today.
good enough to win. She's a horse who has some excuses and bad trips. She probably engaged last time. The horse who won was on the lead, so it wasn't as though the pace fell apart. But I'll give her a chance cutting back. I've always had a bit of a thing for her, and I thought she'd be a square price, and I thought many of these were similar.
Okay.
We will take a break. We will come back with the $1 pick 6, the late pick 5, and 3 greatest stakes, including 3 returning champions.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling, joining you on a glorious Saturday here in Saratoga. As July comes to a close today, we hit
Crazy,
August
right?
tomorrow,
Yeah.
hitting our stride, though, with some excellent racing coming up, including 3 greatest stakes. The race number 6, this is one I referenced before when we were talking about pedigrees, because the horse that you've picked obviously has a strong dam side pedigree, at least as far as production from the dam.
Yeah, good old Isabella Sings. This one by Curlin draws the inside.
Why don't you tell people about who Isabella Sings was? Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know what she did in the
Isabella
racetrack.
Sings was a multiple stakes winner on the turf. She was a very, very nice
Isabel
filly.
Stings ran 21 times on the
8
turf.
for 21.
Thank you. She was hit the board 15 of 21 times. She won $630,000 and had a career best 105 buyer. She was a serious turf horse. Now, her first foal ran in the dirt, didn't do any running, but this pedigree says turf. Todd Pletcher, on the other hand, I don't know. Did I put these up? I did not put these up. For what it's worth, 2-year-old first-time stars in turf routes, Todd Pletcher, and he has 2 in here, is 6 for 76, 8% and a $1.34 ROI, and at Saratoga he's 2 for 22. So, in general, it hasn't worked out. But this horse is the pedigree in this race.
Yeah, pedigree gets Joel Rosario drawn inside. I always think that helps for these young horses, especially going into that first turn. Yeah, like you know, we talked about the pedigree. I don't like that stat that you just told me, but
Does it bother you at all that Irad Ortiz is on the other Todd Pletcher? Because Joel Rosario doesn't ride that often for Todd.
So the
And
other
Joel-
Todd Pletcher is scratched, which is the other strange thing about
yeah.
this.
You're-
Royal Spirit comes out of this race. You know what, Andy? It was kind of strange. I'm trying to find the other one. It looked like the 3 of these horses, because there's one on the MTO list that came out causing mayhem. It looks like the 3 of them were working together. One gets MTO'd, one gets scratched, and one gets left in. Yes.
Now listen, we don't know the reason for the scratch.
don't know the
Could've
reason
been
for the
scratch.
scratch.
Horse could have gotten sick.
Correct.
There's 8 million reasons, and it's not
Correct.
Todd. I mean,
But it's not like
hard
he
to
went and
believe.
reached out. He didn't reach out. He went and got Joel Rosario for the other one, you know?
No, but he had Irad Ortiz on this horse, and Irad rides a lot for Vinny Viola and Mike Rapoli, who own this horse.
Right.
And that could be one of the reasons as well.
Sure.
But I'd be surprised if Todd decided to scratch a Mike Rapoli and Vinny Viola firster on a Saturday at Saratoga with Irad. Probably got sick, probably some reason the horse scratched. It wasn't just he can't beat the one. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
This is not Todd's strong suit, but this is the pedigree horse. Now, the horse who's going to take the most money in here and should is 0235, 02305, whatever the hell.
02035.
This horse ran very, very well, and we're going to show you the start of the race, and we're going to show you the finish. This horse basically jumped up right at the start of the race. I don't know why it's not in the short comments, and broke a length plus slow. I'm going to tell you something. This horse really ran because nobody else closed in this race, and this guy was running. Now, sprinters stretching out aren't a great idea in turf races, but sometimes 2-year-olds, it's more a mitigating circumstance. We don't run routes at Belmont. Got a race under the belt. For what it's worth, George Weaver, and we'll show the stat after this, has lousy numbers stretching out maidens on the turf. This horse is good. The question is he good going long, or does he need to go short again?
Right. Is he a one-turn closer? Is he a turf sprinter?
This guy ran last
We're not
time.
going to find out. This horse ran. So this stat tells you that it's tough on the Weaver barn when they stretch these
It's a
horses
good
out.
barn.
It's a good barn, and that's not a good stat.
But this horse ran. That was a legitimate race.
And
this horse ran against the grain of the race and blew the brake. This horse ran very well.
More often than not, when you see a running line like this, you kind of feel like, all right, well, this race just fell apart and he picked up some pieces, especially at that price. This horse ran well like he was 4-1, then 42-1. And yes, if he can stretch, he's going to be dangerous today because for this time of year, that was a pretty fast race down at Belmont Park.
Yeah, no,
it's a fast race, it's a real race.
I agree.
So
I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, one of these firsts is really going to have to run or hope this horse doesn't stretch second time.
The interesting thing is that there really isn't that much turf pedigree outside of the one. I mean, the Dam produced a turf winner, was okay. Won on the turf, not a bad horse. The other ones, there really isn't much to go on. Now, I picked Dowagic, whatever, Chief Dowagic or whatever.
Dowagic.
Yeah, have at it, Anth.
Dowagic Chief.
There you have it.
Dowagic.
I don't know anything about this horse. I'm certainly not asking Tom Amoss. I'm not getting tips from trainers or Tom Amoss because he has a friend in here. But Cairo Princess he's been a good producer. The Dam was over one on the turf. She ran a 67 buyer, so she handled it. Second Dam didn't really win. She didn't win on the turf, but she ran respectable races sprinting on the turf. So there is enough turf to handle it. It's a total guess on my part.
Yeah.
I did not want to pick the 1 on top. I didn't want to take the 7 on top, and I searched for somebody else. Listen, Nyquist Nix is certainly not impossible. I wish there was more pedigree and limited liability. It's Kitten's Joy. The Dam side is modest turf pedigree, to be kind, unraced horses all around. The Dam was 1 for 6 in the turf, ran 79 horses bred, but Shug's horses, his firsters in turf, they just don't win very often.
They don't win.
You know, they usually need a race.
Yep. Yeah.
So I thought it was tricky, you know.
No, I don't blame you. Listen, at least your colt has some experience.
I decided to take a shot because this race has a look of maybe you want to get a little bit goofy.
Sure.
That's all. I don't
Absolutely.
think it's goofy, but
you make a lot of good points about that horse, too.
Race number 7. David has Love and Thunder favored. So we'll start with your top pick, Love and Thunder. And I'll tell you, this horse should have won. And for those people that think that Jose and Irad Ortiz are not super competitive, and they help each other on the track, they need to watch this race and ask themselves,
put him in every spot he could.
Irad Ortiz helping his brother when he put him into a complete and total jackpot in this race?
What a jackpot.
Kept him locked in there and blind switched him in the stretch and cost him the race? I don't think so. So for all you ridiculous conspiracy theory people accusing 2 fine young men of doing something that they don't do, you need to watch that race.
Yeah, that's Exhibit A through Z. He rode him like he was his worst enemy.
And by the way, it was all good race riding. It was great race riding.
All clean.
Irad did it to Jose, and Jose knew it. And he knew he got in that spot. And I think good riders respect when another guy race rides them and they beat them. They may get frustrated, but they can respect it because they should be doing the exact same thing to them, and they will if they have a chance.
This horse ran well on her U.S. debut.
How good was that race?
She lost all chance at the start. She ran fantastically last time. All she didn't do was win. And like you said, with a smidgen of leniency from Big Brother, she wins.
She had a good trip to win, though. She didn't have the trouble. She was the best horse.
But she was the best horse.
No doubt
and she improved 7 buyer points from her debut here to the stretch out.
Does it bother you that the winner of that race ran lousy at a short price in her next start?
Yeah. That stuff's always going to bother you, but I think you have to
I think it's very relevant.
When you like her, I think you have to bank on the fact that she has 2 races in America, and they're both very good efforts. And you got to hope that...
I had no problem with her.
Yeah. You got to hope that she just
with all due
runs
respect,
her race.
My friend Chad Brown, he'll be okay. And Chad certainly had a lot of very good luck in his life as a trainer. But he's having lousy luck at this meet. Those things change. But right now, he feels a little like you and I when we keep betting horses that run second.
Yep.
You know?
We've had a lot of that. So
and at a short price, I like High Opinion in here. And we'll show High Opinion's last race. You know I love Tony Dutrow. I have no idea why he ran this horse 10 furlongs 2 times in a row. Maybe those races came up. He's finally running this horse the right distance. You know, this horse closed her year out with a sensational effort behind Duopoly, who won a Grade 1 in her next start. Vigilante's Way, who's racked up some grade stakes with her subsequent starts. And I thought she ran very well at mile 16, coming back in a slow-paced race with too much to do. Then they ran her a mile and a quarter twice. She's so good, she still ran competitively in those races. Now she's getting back to what she wants to do, and that's go shorter. And I really like this filly, and I think if she runs through her good races, she's going to win this race. It's not an easy race. You only have her third. Okay, I like her more than you do.
Well, here's my problem with her. She kind of looks like she's a bit of a grinder. And I think that's why Tony stretched her out, to hope that she could just grind out going a little longer.
But she's not a router. You can say it all you want.
I don't
she's
know
not
what she is at this point.
Well, she's run significantly better in shorter races. That's non-debatable. She's a significantly better horse going shorter.
Yet he ran her long twice.
So he was wrong. Trainers make mistakes.
He's admitting it now.
Running her
he's
the right
admitting
race.
it now, right? And we'll
why I'm betting
we'll find out today.
Secret Time. First time Danny Gargan. Danny Gargan, trainer switches on the turf. 8 for 49, 16%, $1.54 ROI. I think she's dressed up by the company she kept, and she can win. And, you know, Danny's having a good meet. I respect his training, but I got her fourth, though.
Gets into the barn. He's going to put the blinkers back on. She had 2 so-so races with the blinkers on, one over in Europe, while her first start here in the U.S. as well. Took them off for the last 3. They go back on. The barn's doing well. He gets Tyler Gaffleone. Yeah, I thought she was a little bit. Listen,
I think
it's a heavy lean. I'm leaning heavily on Love and Thunder.
I like Invincible Gal as a racehorse. I don't think she's as good as these. She gets Lasix. She was way too far back last time.
Way too far
part
back.
of that conversation I had with Graham Motion where he said, I think all the riders think they want my horse to be dead last. And she ran a winning race when she was second, 2 back. My man, how's Trevor doing at Del Mar, by the way?
Great.
Trevor McCarthy. Is he? Good. Excellent rider. Love Trevor.
I thought you meant
Trevor McCarthy.
Trevor's doing okay.
Oh, okay. Trevor McCarthy. That's what I said. Trevor McCarthy.
And
then I used the name.
I just heard Trevor.
You can listen occasionally.
When you say Del Mar and say Trevor, I think of Denman. I'm sorry.
Right, but I did say Trevor McCarthy. But
Okay.
anyway, she may win. She did draw well towards the inside. I thought the Olders were a little bit better than she was, but
Yeah.
she's certainly not
I
impossible.
felt the same way.
He scratched out of the very tough Lake George to run in this spot. Race number 8, the Grade 1 Vanderbilt, and I'm excited by this. This is the only Grade 1 at 6 furlongs that we run in New York every year for anybody. And
wow.
I'm so sick and tired of it coming up with 4 and 5 horse fields. And now it comes up with 9. And it's a really fun race. And really, anybody at least that's on the East Coast that could have been here is pretty much here.
It's here.
And there's a lot of horses in here. I mean, 3 Technique, Strike Power's improved. Montauk Traffic's been exciting. These are horses that are going to be prices, and I think they're not impossible in here. You have some big names. I definitely defaulted the favorite here. But my feeling is, we look at the Carter, which was an absolute stroll in the park at 7 furlongs, that Mischievous Alex is a better horse going shorter. And as we take a look at his win in the Grade 1 Carter, one of the 3 Grade 1 sprints in New York, along with this one and the Forgo, I just think he's too good for these if he runs this race. His Met Mile wasn't great, but I think he's better shorter.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. He has 2 races on his card. This race, obviously. If he runs this race, he's going to win today.
Yep.
That's it. And he's the only horse in here, I think, that has a representative race that they can. He's the only horse that can say that if he runs his best race, he's going to win. The rest of them, they'll be fighting for pieces.
In fairness, to take the Counter example, and he is my pick, if he runs a lot of his other races, he's one of the guys who can win it. He's going to have to step up and run a big race because you're not winning this race. You may get a lucky trip and win it, but it's probably going to take a decent animal to win this race. We'll take a look at our next video for this race, who is... Oh, I did it wrong. I apologize, guys. That was my fault. Let's take a look. I appreciate that. Our crack staff. I did not look at the videos. It is all on me. Let's look at Whitmore and Lexington in the Churchill Downs Stakes. So before you say that Whitmore, who, with all due respect, hung like a chandelier here, this race was wrapped up, and he hung in the final strides, and it was not a particularly fast race, is he better at 6 furlongs? Well, he beat City of Light with a great trip, but nonetheless, he beat City of Light, the only horse to do it that year, and that included the horse of the year, Accelerate, who he beat at Oaklawn at 7 furlongs in the Forgo. And that bothers me. The best Whitmore would not have lost both those decisions at Oaklawn to CZ Rocket. He's a great horse. Not a great horse. He is had a great career. And he is a real testament to letting horses leave them in, run them in spots all the time, be there, and they develop a following and become very rootable horses. But I can't bet him off his form this year.
I can see where people think he's lost a step. But
doesn't it appear he has?
Well, CZ Rocket, if you put a proverbial gun to my head, CZ Rocket's the leader of this division in my eyes. And
He is?
I think he is.
Which grade ones has he won?
I'm not worried about the grade ones he's won.
I am.
I think CZ Rocket is the leader of this division right now. He's the favorite to win a grade
I think
one
it's
later
Mischievous
on
Alex
today
who
at
won the
Del
Carter.
Mar.
Mischievous Alex won the Carter. He's
Yeah, but they've kind of run him at the 7 and at the mile.
We
I
disagree.
don't know what they're doing. Yeah, we do. I think Whitmore, and I do think he is most effective at 6. I think he can win today, getting back to the three quarters.
Of course he can win. But I feel like he could be a bit of an underlay. We'll see what plays out. Frenzy Fire. He lost last time.
He can't win, Andy. It's not Belmont.
Right.
Don't you know that?
And 3 Technique, who gets blinkers on, is in here as well. Frenzy Fire is a very cool horse. He's not a Belmont horse. He's a good horse.
Good horse,
who's
period.
been in the right race at Belmont. Here's my problem with him. He has had unbelievably easy trips against not quite the deep competition he's facing today. And I think it has dressed him up a bit. Listen, I don't want to knock a horse who's running some of the best races of his career as a 5-year-old or 6-year-old. He's a very cool horse. He's sort of a Whitmore type. But I think
very similar.
things get tougher in here. And I think as the trips don't get, not that he's not a tractable horse, but I think as the trips don't get as favorable for him or as clearly favorable for him and a deeper competition, I think it makes him vulnerable.
They would be great lunch bet fodder. You know, Frenzy Fire and Whitmore have run against each other 4 times, and Whitmore's beaten them all 4 times.
84 lunches, by the way.
All 4 times. So, yeah, I mean, Frenzy Fire, I wonder what kind of trip he's destined for today. He's not going to make the lead with a horse like Strike Power in the race.
Well, he could be
That's
sitting
for
behind
sure.
the 4 and 9,
He could be
right?
sitting behind the 4 and 9.
That's a
Yeah,
pretty good
maybe,
trip, isn't it?
maybe he works out the right trip today.
Right.
Like you, though, you kind of feel like he's stepping up a little bit in class today, running against, namely, Mischievous Alex, a horse of that like he really hasn't faced in a while.
Let's talk about your top choice and my second choice, and we'll show you Special Reserve winning the Maryland Sprint over Strike Power in their race. Source has gotten good, and I know what you're doing. Anthony likes to ride the hot hand, and Chad Brown hasn't had the best of luck, but everything has come up roses for Mike Maker.
Everything has come up roses. Even in here, this horse who has some speed, who has plenty of speed, is drawn outside of the main speed. He gets Joel Rosario, gets to kind of call his shots from that outside draw, see who's going to go, who's going to wind up where in the first 3/8 of a mile. His horse is improving for a barn who is winning everything in sight. He's got that tactical speed. I think he's going to be a square price because he's running against the likes of Mischievous Alex.
He's got to
Frenzy
show
Fire,
it in New York
and
against
Whitmore.
a completely
He does.
different group of
He
horses.
does, but so far, since Mike Maker's claimed him, he's won at Oaklawn, Pimlico, and Prairie Meadows, and he's run well at Keeneland.
The buildings, as Woody Stevens said,
They get a lot taller when
in
you
New
come
York.
this side of the Hudson. Right. I do not disagree. But for a hot barn, for a horse that's supposed to get a very nice setup in here today, right off of Strike Power, we'll see where Frenzy Fire shakes
I got
out
him
early.
second, but this is a real move up for him.
It is. I
You
want
know,
to bet. I'm betting this horse today.
I don't know if Montauk Traffic has been good and is good enough, but he's an exciting horse to watch.
He
and he
is.
made some kind of run last time to win over Jalen Journey, who had everything his own way. He's just got to get better. But I like that Linda Rice is showing confidence in him, and she does have great numbers when she's confident with her horses. And I think Tree Technique has improved, and I like him cutting back to 6 furlongs. Blinkers on for him. I think he's not impossible as well. Honestly, miles ahead feels like, and even he's not bad. I mean, he beat a decent horse and chance it. This is a very deep and fun race. I'm looking forward to this guy.
All of our Saturdays are fantastic here. There's a grade one every Saturday at Saratoga. For me, this is like the weather's nice, place is packed. This is the first big field with the 3 stakes, the Jim Dandy coming up, and you get a grade one to kick off the stakes action for the card.
Could not agree more with you. Race number 9 is the Jim Dandy. Now, this one, it's not going to be a Jim Dandy-like upset, but it would be a pretty big upset if Essential Quality, who...
that it would.
Essential Quality, who we last saw in the winner's circle with Brad Cox and Jimmy Bell from Godolphin. Nice big win in that race.
The Belmont
They'll
Stakes.
both be here today. It's nice to see Brad here.
Saw him this morning. Caught him this morning.
I know I've said this before, Anthony, but this Belmont Stakes could not have come at a better time. After a annoying Triple Crown, tumultuous, the right word, thank you, Anth. We capped it off with a race that reminded us all why we love horse racing. I mean, that was a tremendous throwdown. Hot Rod Charlie ran unbelievably well. And, some people said, I think you're this. I like when people say you're disrespecting a horse. The horse is okay. They sleep well at night. They don't know. I think the point was you could only say Hot Rod Charlie ran as well as he did because of how well Essential Quality ran. He's a horse that always shows up. This is some interesting horses in here that we'll talk about. I just think he's too good for these. I'm not trying to beat him.
A true test of the champion last time, as the 2-year-old champ got the money in the final jewel of the Triple Crown, and it was a fantastic horse race. You're 100% right. It came at the right time where it showed all the good in the sport. These two horses slugging it out for 3/8 of a mile, down to those two, 10 in front of the rest of the field. He's the goods, and he comes into this race. This division, a lot of people feel is wide open. I don't know if it's necessarily as wide open as possible, because when I think to the end of the year and I think about 1 3-year-old, I think about him. I think about Essential Quality. So if I'm to think that, I have to think this division is his right now. They tinkered with the idea of running this horse straight into the Run Happy Travers. I love the fact that he's coming here and that we get to see him twice, and we get to see him today in the Jim Dandy. You need to run. You're running in the right races. You're going to prep him here at the Spa. This is the right race. I'm looking forward to seeing this horse compete today.
Rant brought to you by Anthony Stabile. The number 2 Masca Parade is a nice improving horse. And keep me in mind is at least finding his good form. And I will say, in my opinion, and Miguel Mena probably had no choice because he kind of had to go after the Todd Pletcher horse to the inside, and it was probably the right move, and that's how he beat him. But I think that Masca Parade ran better than it looks because he had to make that aggressive middle move, 3 wide on both turns pretty much, to get after Promise Keeper. And that worked for him. He got it done. He ran a huge race on Derby Day. Is he ready to take that step forward for Al Stahl, who won the Curlin with Blame and knows how to win a big race? It's a big step forward. But I'm interested in seeing what this guy does, because I think he's a horse to keep an eye on, whether it's later in the year in a race like the Clark, or heading towards into next year. I think we're going to hear some good things from him. It's just going to be tough to beat Essential Quality.
Great to see an upstart doing as well as this horse is doing.
I know. I love that, too.
For our man, Rick Violet. This horse's last 2 races, he has really stepped up his game from the first 4 races of his career. Is it just maturity? Is it the added distance? He ran his eyeballs out last time. That was a big effort from him. Now he's got to come back and do it in 5 weeks, and he's obviously taking a step up against the division leader and a Belmont Stakes champion. But I would not be surprised.
You got a 4th?
Yeah. Andy,
can I bet you a lunch that he beats Keep Me in Mind?
Yeah, we can do that.
Want to make it 2?
Sure. I like Keep Me in Mind today.
Okay. Why?
I like Keep Me in Mind today.
Based on what?
I feel like as the year progresses, a horse like him, who doesn't have a lot of speed, he's going to catch up to the rest of these horses. I don't know if he's going to catch up to Essential Quality. I don't think he's going to catch up to Essential Quality. But he's danced a lot of dances against the best horses. Have all of his efforts been good? No. But I feel like he's the kind of horse, and he always looked like the kind of horse that was going to improve as the season went on. And I think he's starting to put it all together. The season wears on. I think he's going to be okay the second half of the year. He gets a rider change to Joel Rosario. And I think this horse is going to be a little bit closer than he normally is today under Joel.
I think you're on. I think you're on something.
You always think I'm on some
because
sort
you're
of
always wrong when you
hallucinogen.
put horses with absolutely no speed closer.
I'm not saying he's going to be on top
Joel,
of it.
who I love Joel, but he's not exactly known as one of the more aggressive riders,
but
especially on horse with no speed like he has. You're insane if you think he's going to be closer.
I think he'll
You're
be
insane.
a little bit more aggressive with him today.
He won't be.
I thought he was the second
He'll be
half.
last early.
I thought he was the second half
Unless
kind of
somebody
horse
falls out
you
of the
wanted. I don't know if he's as good as some of the top 3-year-olds, but I think he has a chance to get there.
Okay. We disagree. I like Wayburn. I'm a Wayburn fan.
Me too.
Here he is finishing second. And this was amazing because, Mandaloon appeared to have him measured and was going to win easily. And he fights him gamely to the wire. It reminds you of that Gotham where Crowded Trade had him beaten, and he came back to beat him. He is one game guy going down the stretch. No, he's got to improve, but I think he's a dangerous horse, and he's going to be controlling on the front end here.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in front under a Ortiz Jr. who's going to ride for the first time. I'd be curious to see what Masca Parade does inside of him. Let's see how aggressively Essential Quality is ridden. It's only the 5-hole, but he's still the outside in the field of 5. Who knows what Dr. Jack does from the rail under Jose Ortiz? I agree with you. I feel like Wayburn should be in front in here.
How is he not?
Stranger things have happened.
Well, I guess
Andy.
Jose could be aggressive.
You know,
but
Jose could be aggressive from the rail.
Maynard
I
could
don't
be
think Mass
aggressive.
Parade is.
No, he's not slow. I mean, this horse is
not
faster.
slow,
He's
you
much
know?
faster, Wayburn. He should be in front. I'm interested to see what he does, but at the end of the day, the
And
Jim
if they're
Bandy.
lollygagging around, maybe Luis Saez just decides to take the fight to him with essential quality. That's not out of the realm of possibility either.
Yes, it is. Anyhow, race number 10. Try to get back to reality here. The Bowling Green. It's an interesting race. I made a change in my picks.
Okay.
Yeah, I made a change. Channel Maker. Let's talk about the return of last year's turf champion, Channel Maker. We'll show his third in the Breeders' Cup Turf.
He almost pulled this off against a couple of really nice Euros, man.
No, he was terrific. I agree.
He almost pulled this off.
The sea change in him, and he's always been a good horse, and you know I've always been a big fan, and he's one of their grade ones. But the real sea change was to stop fighting this horse. And I think Manny Franco proved to be the elixir that he needed in just giving him his head and letting him roll on the front end.
Manny's a
And
great fit for him.
Getting some give in the ground won't hurt. Turf
No.
listed is good, but it could easily be on the yielding side of good. We'll see as the races progress. We got a lot of rain, over 2 inches a couple days ago.
He's won 2 grade ones with give in the ground.
The problem is he's not supposed to get the lead in this race. Because Channel Cat, and we'll get to him, he's got to go. There's no way he's not going.
You would think that's accurate.
I wonder if off the layoff, he may need his race, and I think Bill's obviously using as a prep for the Sword Dancer. Love to win, love to see a good effort, but he's probably not going to have the same run of the race. And I think with Channel Cat in here, he's a bit compromised. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Absolutely fair. But the fact that he's getting some cut in that ground, and he is better with some cut in that ground, there's no question about it. And over a course where he ran a dynamite race in the Sword Dancer last year over that bog, I think he's dangerous. I don't disagree with anything you said, but I think he's still very dangerous today.
No, he can win.
How cool is that? 3 consecutive
I've got-
rated stakes
but-
here, 3 consecutive champions.
As far as Channel Cat, we'll show you the Manhattan. I'm sorry, we'll show you the Man of War. This is the aggressive ride. He dueled hard with Field Pass, put that one away, and he ran terrific. I was going to pick him on top.
Wow, really?
I had picked him on top.
But
and I changed my picks.
don't you feel like at the very least Channel Maker has to put some pressure on him, or you just think he's that much faster than him?
Anthony, we've had 500 of these discussions in the show. And I'll be fair, you've been right 3 of them. But your idea of
I'm
people,
right a lot more than you think I am.
you're down 84 lunches, and a lot of them have to do with this.
It has nothing to do with the lunches.
The reality is that people don't put pressure on horses in here, especially in mile 3/8 races.
But when you
And
have,
if you think that Channel Maker is going to put heavy pressure on Channel Cat,
but you just got done saying, it's evident now. When Channel Maker,
once again, you and I completely disagree.
I just
And
don't
let me
understand
also
how you
say-
don't think that if what you just said,
I
if
watch
we
the
see
races
it,
around here. You're apparently in dreamland.
we see it, they have to see it.
Okay, they don't see it. And I don't know how many races you need, how many more examples you need to see of this. I don't understand. We can keep arguing it. I understand what you're saying implicitly. It just doesn't happen. And also, Channel Cat took huge pressure in that race that we saw there. And he still
A
won.
ton of pressure.
And he still won.
Yeah.
So he can withstand some pressure. And Johnny's going to go. The problem was there was too much pace last time. And the horse he was chasing finished second and came back with a grade 1 win.
Yep.
So he had no shot last time. So I think he'll be fine. I just don't know if he's good enough. Why is Moon Over Miami going to beat him today?
Well, I'm hoping that there is some, whether it's Channel Maker or Channel Cat, I'm hoping there's some pace on in here.
But there was pace on in the Man of War. He got
There
a huge
was.
pace.
I mean, he hung a little bit in the Man of War. He also went inside when if he goes outside, maybe it's a little bit of a different
Maybe.
story. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, and I want to take a horse. Now, I didn't realize he was that low on the morning line.
Well,
I
what
don't think
price-
he'll be that short. But
I think it will be.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think he's an improving horse. I want to take a little chance with him.
Okay.
I have questions about the others in here.
Yeah, I wasn't thrilled with him. I thought he's not impossible. I agree. He's run competitively. He's obviously in here. And I don't think there are that many strong contenders, including cross border got placed first, but I think it's a tougher division. I'm going to take Rock Emperor. And I think last time, one of the things they discovered with him last time was that he's better when they get him more in the game. And if you look at his races, I think it makes a certain amount of sense. And Rock Emperor has run plenty of races that are good enough to be competitive if you don't think the Channel Maker is going to run his good race. Channel Maker's good race is going to win this race. I don't think there's any argument against that. But this guy is as good, if not better, than anybody. And I wonder if finally getting a win, his first win in North America, might just get him to turn it around a little bit and stop doing all his hanging.
10 tries. It took him 10 tries.
A lot of hanging. And listen, this is a significantly better field than we beat last time. There's no doubt about it. But this guy has run well enough to win this race, and maybe that race was exactly what he needed to turn things around. So I'm kind of hoping that's the case, and I'm hoping that Joel gets him, you know, in the third or fourth position in this race, and he sits a little bit closer in here like he did last time, and that helps him win the race.
We have a minute here. I thought Breakpoint
we have time.
was a little interesting. He made his first start for Chad Brown off of the ship up from his native Chile. Had a horse that was aggressively ridden in Megacity, who just went to the front at 40-1 and did not stop.
Okay. He was terrible, this horse.
He was terrible.
Terrible.
But he's got the race under his belt now. He figures to get more of a sense of normalcy as far as how the race unfolds. He's run well. That race was at 1 1/8. He gets another quarter of a mile today. He's run well down in South America going long. And he is going to be a price in a field of horses where I think we kind of know where everybody is, where the rest of these horses are at right now. We kind of have a good feel for them.
Okay.
We don't know about him, and he's going to be
he's going to be a price. I'm not going to knock him. I saw nothing from his debut. But listen, in fairness, Chad Brown is taking a shot in this race, and if he really thought he was a complete bum, he wouldn't run him in a race.
I thought he was very interesting.
That's fair. We'll see what happens. Very interesting running. What an excellent bunch of stakes we have today.
These 3 stakes are fantastic.
Really good stakes. I'm happy to see. You know, you've got the Star and Essential Quality, and full fields in the other, or solid fields in the other one. I
a lot
agree.
Of old friends. A lot of old friends in the Bowling Green.
Yeah. No. And some newer. Some horses are running well. I'm excited for this race.
Me too.
Race number 11, I thought was a bit of a war. We'll take a look at the horse you have on top. Vittori Kim winning 3 back. Picks up Jose Ortiz. Have at it. Oh, it's Wayne Potts.
Potsy, man, Pots and Pans.
By
Listen.
the way, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If Wayne Potts goes 0 for 20, are you going to call Wayne and say, Wayne, I'm burying you by picking all your horses. I'm going to let you win a race without me?
I've already offered him. I actually, you know what the funny thing is? I offered him, do you want me to back off 1 or 2? And he said, no, you're with me. I'm with you, Big A. You do what you got to do. Look, like you said, this is a war on paper. He's run against better horses in his career.
You think Noble thought we beat theirs better than these?
No, but overall, I mean, I think the Sanctuary City race is better than these.
He was victimized by a slow pace last time out. Sanctuary City race was better. He didn't do any running, but a better field. I've got him second. You're absolutely right. He can win. I'm going to take Morocco. I'd love to see Javier be aggressive with him today and be in front or get good position inside of any other speeds. This horse got a ridiculous trip. He broke a step slow last time, was 4 wide around the racetrack. That was actually a pretty good horse that beat him. They're dropping him down. You know, for what it's worth, Savvy Joseph 7 for 18, checking off the claim and a 50% drop on the turf. He's 2 for 6.
Listen, he can drop him here because if he gets claimed and wins,
he's probably getting claimed.
He's probably going to get claimed, right? If
Who
he
else
gets claimed,
he
gets a piece. I thought. Where else do we go? I thought Tizarunner made some sense.
Dave Aragona likes Tizarunner. I didn't like this horse at all. I thought it was a very weak field last time.
I don't disagree it was a weak field. It was off a 3-month break.
Yeah,
the Maker Barn's going well. I'm sure David. And this horse has run well in Saratoga in the past, so I gave him a little chance in here. I thought Sharp Prospect, you have him 3rd. I have him 4th. Joe Sharp won that race yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't much of a field he beat last time.
No, but he did win off of a 13-month layoff.
Mm-hmm. All right. Excellent card today. Great day.
It is.
A lot of fun here in Saratoga. Head over to NYRABets.com. If you're not a member of NYRABets, use the promo code SPA200. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit. Sign up for NYRABets. Become a member of NYRABets. PJF Day, you've got a couple of minutes to head on over, see the jocks, make a donation, support the PJF fund, go to the Jockey Silks Porch. Cross Country Pick 5, Monmouth, Woodbine, and 3 graded stakes from Saratoga starts just after 4:30. Cross Country Pick 5. Bankroll Builder, bet 50 to win on the Jim Dandy. And win, lose, or draw, you get $20 back towards your bankroll for the Travers.
There's 6 of those total. 3 of them, include after today, 3 of them will be in the books. You got 3 more chances the next 3 Saturdays.
Finally,
Saratoga Live.
Today, 1 to 7. on FS2. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day at Saratoga. John Imbrial up next with a reprise, The Scratches and Changes.